Greetings and salutations, everybody. My name is Scott Allison, and here I am. I am here. Where are you? Where are you people? I know I haven't been on in a while, but that's okay. If I'm talking to a nobody out there, that's fine. I don't mind because I'm restarting. I'm starting from scratch. Well, not from scratch. I have the equipment clearly to do this. I have the background and the stuff and the computers and the Rodecaster Pros and the Stream Decks and the cameras and all the fun stuff. In fact, you can see some back here, some of the boxes of the equipment I use, as well as, you know, my little mascot here, Stitch. So here I am again doing this on a Sunday of all things. This is not going to be my normal thing. I'm going to be streaming probably on Fridays. I'm thinking about 4 p.m. Central. That gives me the week to kind of lead up to Friday so I can be that aggregator, if you will. I'm also going to be doing shorts. So a little bit of background, just for everybody's sake, and maybe get some people in here. Who knows? I don't. Like I said, I need to get back into the practice, back into the swing of things. And so about a year and a half ago, I started getting, it's actually been longer than that. It's been over 2 years now. Anyway, I got into streaming mainly because I was interested in doing it for my wife, specifically for her therapy business, so that she could, you know, have a nice professional setup and a nice microphone and a nice camera and be able to do her therapy online. You know, this was during the beginning of the pandemic and later into the height of the pandemic, and I thought that would be such a cool way to help her business, her brand new business, by the way, since she would be mostly having to do virtual therapy. So we basically built out her office and set up a nice studio. And I was like, man, this is so much fun. I'm going to do this myself. So I went out and got my own equipment and started doing my thing. But at the time, I have 3 boys. One had already moved out. But my other 2 boys each had a bedroom, and I had what is essentially the formal living room, I guess, in the front of the house, and it doesn't have a door. So the things that I was, having to do there, in order to stream. I would have to do it at weird times. I would have, anytime I wanted to record content, I had to like shush the rest of the house because I'm talking 2 kids, some dogs, my wife, a loud TV in the other room. And so all of that, made it kind of a challenge, a very big challenge actually, to creating content. So I decided when my son, my middle son now, he left for college. And so what did Dad do? He hijacked his bedroom. That's right, folks. I'm an awful father. I took over his bedroom, moved all his shit out, and moved it downstairs into the formal living room. I mean, I set it up nice to put a nice little barrier so he could have privacy when he comes visits and stays for a while. And anyway, so I came up here to this room. I've got it all decked out. I've got a new set. I've got soundproofing in here, although it needs a little bit more work. I'm going to probably have to put up some more soundproofing. And it's been fun building this out. And so this is my first live stream, my first recording of any kind, where I'm behind a door and I'm not worried about the sounds from the other room. I mean, I told my family I'm streaming so they wouldn't come and bug me, or they wouldn't make a lot of loud noises like screaming and yelling. Not just kidding. My family doesn't really yell much. But we came to this, and here I am. I'm loving it. Studio's not completely done. Some work back here needs to happen. But yeah, I am so stoked. I am so stoked that I, pull my headset out, which I need to fix real quick. So now I'm going to be doing live content. I've got a space in this room. This room is big enough that I've got a little space over there where I can do some other videos. I'm going to be doing shorts. So what do I do? Who am I? I'm Scott Allison, and I basically I comment on Twitter. I mean, that's really the crux of it, is that I comment on what is going on in the Twitterverse. So this is neither here nor there. So this part of the show is kind of throwaway, you and I just talking, what have you. I'm about to get into the meat, what I do is I live stream for a little bit, and then I record my content, and then I live stream a little bit more. So that way, we can have a discussion if we need to. We can sit down and really talk about what's going on in the world, and chat about it if you want to, if you're interested. So here we go. So we're going to start this up, and I'm going to basically start from here. So I'm going to wave so I know where to edit. Greetings and salutations, everybody. My name is Scott Allison, and this is Beyond 280. This is the show where I go beyond the 280 character limit of Twitter to bring you my take on the latest goings on, really in the Twitterverse, social media, but mostly the Twitterverse. So just a little bit of a warning here. If you are easily triggered, please be warned, I will get political. I will. I just will. That's who I am, and that's fine. I used to fight it. I used to, try to do these shows and try to be as, stay out of the political sphere. But I realized pretty quickly that I could not. I just couldn't do it. I tried very hard to not do it, but it's part of who I am. So just be warned. However, I'll also take on other, topics, sports, entertainment, religion even, but I'm not going to stray away from politics so every trend, every topic is basically fair game. So here's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. Not necessarily a specific topic, but kind of a generalized topic. A lot of times when I'm traversing the Twitter zone, the Twitter sphere, Twitter, I'm often I often see basically people describing Twitter as a Hellsite. So I'm not sure what that term is supposed to mean necessarily. I'm guessing it means that, Twitter is kind of the bottom of the barrel. It is just the debauchery of all social media is like, it's on Twitter. That's where the worst is. It's not true. That's really TikTok, but neither here nor there. So a lot of people like to jokingly sometimes refer to it as a hell site. Twitter is a hell site. And I get that joke. I get it. You run across stuff all the time that's like, whoa, hey, chill the F down, man. But in this case, I'm actually seeing more arguments for why maybe we should be avoiding Twitter. So we're going to explore that today. So I wanted to get down to brass tacks, basically, that old saying, and just start looking at Twitter and seeing some references, if we could, of what is going on with the term Hellsite. So I just did a quick search, and of course, my feed here, with the title "Is Twitter a Hellsite?" comes up. Yeah, of course it does. But I just did a basic search here and said, "Hey, is Twitter a Hellsite?" Just search for Hellsite, and let's see what people have to say. So Karen K, who is Karen K Writer, says, "My biggest fear on this Hellsite, aside from going viral, as that seems like a bit much, is tweeting something stupid like, 'My dog likes car rides,' and it appears in some stranger's feed with an algorithmic topic tag of automobiles." So I'm not sure that that's a thing on Twitter, but this algorithmic topics. I found you, Karen, by typing Hellsite. So there we are. And here's somebody else calling Twitter a Hellsite. Fair enough, but knowing this Hellsite, that's a long shot. So I like to dig in to see what this was actually replied to. So let's go look at this. I refuse to work for more for... boy, I cannot talk today. Words are hard, people. Words are hard. I refuse to work more for that when Twitter could just fix their shit. LMAO. So what is this topic about? If you think I'm deranged enough on Twitter, just know that the garbage media tab serves as my Rock Lee weights. And I'm not sure what that means, but this guy has eggplants in his name, so I'm going to just skip over that. Always avoid people with Ukrainian flags and eggplants in their names. It's just a thing that it's a safety moment, if you will, that's what you should be doing, is avoiding these people, because they're either perverts or they, like to uphold Nazis. They're okay with supporting Nazis. Yeah, that's a topic for a different day. So let's go further. Let's see what else people are talking about. There we go. Very hard to judge a delay or lack of response on Twitter, not knowing anything about what is going on in real life for them. Not everyone is on this hell site all day. Wait a while. So I'm sure this is probably in reaction to somebody making just a terrible comment about somebody. I'm not going to dig into this one, but he's right, or she, whoever this is, the dog with the weird hat. Very hard to judge a delay or lack of response on Twitter, not knowing anything about what's going on in real life. Exactly. Twitter is not real life. And so a lot of people like to refer to Twitter as a hell site as a result. This is where we get into the mud as social media users. We get into the mud with Twitter because it's safe, right? When was the last time somebody got hurt on Twitter, like physically hurt on Twitter? It never happens. So this is a safe way to sling mud, throw, poo at people virtually, call them names, call them libtards, call them, GQP or, racists or homophobes or whatever is, you want to throw out there. That's what Twitter is for. It's one of the reasons why people call this a hell site. So let's just spin down a little bit and see if we can find some more references to hell site. Yeah, here's one. Sometimes I read something on this hell site that renews my faith in good things. So this one said the USDA is dropping fish meal coated oral rabies vaccines across the wilderness of the eastern U.S. with hopes of lowering disease rates among raccoons, foxes, coyotes, and skunks, among others. So that's a pretty interesting headline, and kind of highlights to me why Twitter isn't always a hell site. So let me explain. So yes, for the vast majority of people who get on Twitter, it is a hell site. And a lot of the interactions are hellish in nature. But sometimes you get a nice story from the Associated Press that's talking about specifically something that we should, all strive to do, and that's be good stewards of our planet, good stewards of the animals on this planet, good stewards of the environment. And this is a great story around that. So this is, an announcement by the U.S. Department of Agriculture that's saying, hey, we're going to stop this practice of trying to, drop these rabies medicines or vaccines in the forests, and apparently it's got stuff in it that makes it palatable to these raccoons and can make them sick. Ultimately, give them some diseases. That's kind of dumb when you really think about it. Hey, let's drop all this vaccines and make everybody sick. That sounds familiar. Where have I heard that before? Anywho, obviously not a true Hellsite thing, right? This is a good thing. Van Gogh, but not the painter, says this is the type of silly, thoughtless dunking that makes this a Hellsite. Thank you, Mr. Van Gogh. So I'm actually going to drill into this. So let's see. If you think that guy has a good point, you aren't on the left. Okay, let's see. Here we go. We're going to go back in time and find out why this led Van Gogh, but not the painter, to say this is why this is a hell site. I tried explaining to my mom that crime rates have gone down significantly since she was a kid, and she doesn't believe me. So the reality is, according to the court imam, is that's true. Now, have we seen rises in crime recently? Yes. But overall, especially if you go back to the 70s and the 80s, crime rates have gone way down. Shootings with guns, believe it or not, with all this hysteria about mass shootings and about gun crime, the overall rate of gun victims and gun crimes has plummeted since the 70s and the 80s. Now, again, it's you're going to see upswings and downswings, and it's human nature basically, but generally speaking, since the 70s and 80s, we haven't seen the kind of crime that existed back then. I mean, think about New York City in the 1970s. Yikes. So Jay Behringer replies, direction pretty clearly headed up. People pay more attention to rising/falling than absolute levels. Liberals fighting a losing and dumb fight. If their argument is crime was worse in the 90s, many urban areas don't feel super safe right now. And then Jamie Hart feels safe. So here's Van Gogh. This is where Van Gogh enters the conversation. Van Gogh has entered the chat. I'm on the left, against fear-mongering, etc., but I think this is a losing argument rhetorically. People want to feel safe. In some ways, that matters more than how safe they are, at least in people's decision-making. I'm on the right, okay? Van Gogh has said he is on the left. It's funny that I'm talking about Van Gogh like he's a living person, but, that's his name, or Van Gogh, but not the painter. His Twitter handle is actually Hedgegogh. He's got a little hedgehog with a starry night backdrop. That's very cute. Anyways, and I agree with him here because I'm against fear-mongering. And I think it's a losing argument in this case because people do want to feel safe. If you're familiar with Dave Ramsey, he talks about specifically, marriages and how, money tears people apart, right? Tears the marriages apart a lot of times. And he talks about this in the sense that men and women are different in this regard when it comes to money, that women are just born with an innate sense of, wanting to feel safe, wanting to have a safety net or feel safe. He called it I want to say the safety, gene or something like that. And it's true. Women generally, when they feel safe, they are less worrisome. They are full of worry. They're not. They're just generally feel better. They're not depressed. They're not anxious. And it's. Yeah, and I think that's true for a lot of people, but especially for women. So the idea of feeling safe regardless of if it's actually true or not. I think it's important. I think that's an important characteristic. I think it's important, especially for we as men, to make sure that our, you know, our fellow humans do feel safe. So, like if you're married, your wife, or if you're not married, your sisters and your mothers and your aunts. I think you should, as a man, make sure you strive to make them feel safe, even if they're not, right? You know, so like my mother at one time lived in a really, really just very bad part of town. But she felt safe because she had a group of friends around her, you know, and she lived with my grandmother. And so they just kind of felt safe, even though they really were not in that safe of a situation, but that made her a happier person at that time. So because she had that, you know, that safetiness, you know, feeling deep in her. So yes, Van Gogh is right here. And then here we go. Black Ops Poster says, if you think that guy has a good point, then you aren't on the left. Oh boy. So this is where Van Gogh points out that this is a hell site. And here's why. He says, this is the type of silly, thoughtless dunking that makes this a hell site. Silly, thoughtless dunking. Van Gogh, you and I would probably be buddies in real life. I think we should have a beer. I don't know where you live. I don't, you know, so let's just get together and have a beer and just talk, because you sound like a cool dude. This is the type of silly, thoughtless dunking that makes this a hell site. Hope it gave you your dopamine shot. The point is not that said person is right about policy. It's that if you want to connect with voters, then you have to deal with how they think and feel. Van Gogh is right. He is absolutely right. And then you have to change that instead of just ignoring feelings because they're feelings. Doesn't mean you have to lock up poor people, etc. It just means you have to find ways to change that feeling of unsafety, at least on the crime topic. If that means presenting them with stats so that they realize it's actually pretty safe out there, or speaking out against fear-mongering, that's great. But it's just a feeling. Doesn't really help when feelings are important in the voting booth. Wow. So again, I'm on the right. I am a conservative, and I'm pretty darn conservative, as somebody pointed out, because I always said, well, I'm kind of conservative, you know, a little bit to the right. And my online friend said, his name was Alex, he said, brother, you're a little bit more than a little to the right. So me being a conservative and agreeing with this guy tells you that we have middle ground here, that there's things that we can agree on as a society, as people from opposing viewpoints, especially when it comes to Twitter, apparently, because this is the type of silly, thoughtless dunking that makes this a hell site. Thank you, Van Gogh. You made my point, and you are so right. This is what makes Twitter a hell site. That just the, hey, I'm going to dunk for the sake of dunking. You know why? Because I can, because I'm a faceless avatar. I'm a keyboard warrior. You're never going to know who I am, where I live, you know, who my family is, you know, where I work. You're never going to know any of that. And I'm never going to see you face to face. So I'm going to dunk on you, because what are you going to do? Dunk back? Oh no. And so what happens is we get this poisonous discourse. You know, it's not even real discourse. It's just poisonous poison. And that's what makes Twitter a hell site. It's one of the core things that makes Twitter a hell site. Thank you, Van Gogh, but not the painter. I really appreciate this tweet from you. I think this is an amazing statement. It's one of my favorite. In fact, you know, just for, you know, shits and giggles, I'm going to actually screenshot this. And there we go, because I might want to reach out to this person at some point. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to save the screenshot. Eventually. Well, maybe I'm not. Okay, we'll do this, and we'll just put this in a document over here. Okay. Sorry about that. Sorry for the... And that didn't work either. Why didn't that work? Boy. Yeah, we're going to copy that, and we're going to come over here, and we're going to paste that. There we go. Well, that's still not what I wanted. I know. Compelling stuff here, folks. Compelling live stream stuff here when you're dealing with, because that's why it's just taking the text. Yeah. Okay. Well, you can go screw yourself. Let's try this again. There we go. I got the screenshot. Yay. Good job, Scott. All right. So thank you again, Van Gogh, for, finding this for me, for pointing this out, for just making my day and making my job easier, by the way. So let's go back and let's look, let's see what else we can find around, around the term Hellsite. So let's go to the top. Hey, look, it's me. Still the worst tweet on this entire Hellsite. This is from 4 days ago. Breaking Bad was one of the last soy-free shows on American television. Huh. Not sure that makes this a Hellsite, but, yo, Steve, should we ban the Nazis? Now, I think we should nuke one of the only accounts on this Hellsite that actually makes people happy. Wholesome Memes has been suspended, apparently, or Wholesome Meme. 2.8 million followers. I wonder if they're really wholesome. It would be interesting. But yeah, that's another thing that makes Twitter a Hellsite. The company itself. The company itself makes Twitter a Hellsite. So who knows why this account got suspended, but I know for a fact that accounts get suspended for ridiculous things. Ridiculous things. Talking about vaccines, suspended. Talking about, transgender issues, suspended. It really depends on what side of the narrative you were on before you get suspended in most cases. But in some cases, an account like Wholesome Memes will get suspended. Who knows why? Maybe somebody reported them and said, I don't like what they posted. It hurt my feelings. I'm triggered. I mean, maybe I should do this voice instead.
I'm hurt. My feelings are hurt. Somebody, Wholesome Memes, yeah, right. They posted a picture of a kitty cat. I'm so triggered. Report.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's probably something like that happened. And Twitter, being this massive company, that doesn't really apply things fairly, probably doesn't even look at the report, just, oh, yeah, they must have posted something bad. Suspend. This is another reason why Twitter is a Hellsite. Twitter themselves. Their policies, their complete opposition in a lot of cases to free speech, having differing points of view, it's study after study after study has been done on this, that conservatives are very much the target of Twitter bans and Twitter suspensions. And so, yeah, one of the people I follow, they follow me back, Amish Secreto. He's gone by other names, but that's what he was most recently. He just got suspended recently. I don't know why. It's unfortunate because I was going to have him on this show. On my first show, I was going to say, hey, Amish, come on my show. Let's talk about Twitter. And I can't get a hold of him now because only know him through Twitter. Let's stop and think about that for a second. Isn't it kind of strange that we know people only via a social media platform a lot of times? It's kind of weird. So I'm 50 years old, so I was around before the internet, and I think that's very strange. People that have been, living with the internet the whole time and with social media this whole time are probably, oh, that's totally normal. What are you talking about? I don't know. So, this is a good one. Tweets like this make me love this Hellsite. So this, if you're not familiar with this story about Ben Shapiro, a couple days ago at the podcast movement, I guess it's like a show of some sort, like a seminar or something. The Daily Wire had a booth there that, was approved by the podcast movement. And well, let's just go look at the original podcast movement tweet here. Hi, folks. We owe you an apology before sessions kick off for the day. Yesterday afternoon, Ben Shapiro briefly visited the PM22 Expo area near the Daily Wire booth. Though he was not registered or expected, we take full responsibility for the harm done by his presence. The harm done by his presence. So the Daily Wire is his company. It's Ben Shapiro's company. And they had a presence because they had a booth at this show, at this podcast movement show. Why are they freaking out that Ben Shapiro was actually there? Did somebody who is maybe faint of heart, was, walking on the expo floor and it was like,
oh my God, it's Ben Shapiro. I'm scared. I'm going to say something about it. Yeah.
So it's ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Ben Shapiro, what does he, was he wielding a knife or something? Maybe a machete? I'm really confused by this, but Prison Mitch here, in fact, let's go back to this in context. Prison Mitch here posted a great meme showing an AR-15 with a Jewish guy attachment. This is dangerous, folks. We're crossing the line here. And so that's why George wept, who's a great great follower, follow, by the way. So you should be following her. Why she said tweets like this make me love this Hellsite. So yes, there are things to hate about Twitter, but occasionally, more than occasionally, you see something like this and it makes you chuckle. It gets you, maybe it's a little bright point in your day. And maybe if you're smart, that's where you end it. So you're flipping, you're doom scrolling in Twitter and boom, you run into that and you're like, oh man, that is too funny. Then you close Twitter for the rest of the day. Boom. End on a high note. Done. You're not, deep in the muck that is Twitter. You have moved on. And yeah, I think this is pretty amazing meme, by the way. Kudos to you, Prison Mitch. And there we go. So going further, contributory negligence. Good afternoon, Hellsite. See, now this is the content I'm here for. I mean, don't get me wrong. I enjoy the political content. I enjoy the memes and the dank memes and the silly memes and the gross memes and all the memes and the opinions that I see from a lot of from other content creators. I enjoy Twitter to that extent, but I really like this kind of Twitter because as you're doom scrolling again and you run into a cute picture of a dog in the water, it's so freaking cute. In fact, look at it, zoom in, look at this dog. You want to just love this dog, don't you? You just want to hug this dog. You want to boop him on the nose. You want to boop this puppy on the nose right there. Boop. I know I do. And this is why sometimes Twitter is not a hell site. Sometimes. And that's okay. Anarcho-Canadian. Oh, that's hard to say. Anarcho-Canadian. Interesting. That's an interesting name. I'm not sure there's a single tweet on this Hellsite that has aged. I'm sure that's supposed to be aged more poorly than this one. Uh-oh. Trump made some outrageous claims about Germany energy at the UN, and German delegation's reaction was priceless. So I'm not going to play this video, but I can imagine that Trump was probably right about something, and now Germany's like, oh yeah, Trump was right. Oh well. I'm never leaving this fucking hell site. Okay, let's see why. Let's look at this. If they made The Soprano in today's woke times, one of the mobsters would be gay, AJ would be diagnosed with ADHD, and Tony would be in therapy. That's exactly what happened. Are you taking the mic? Tony in therapy, fat guy, gay, etc. Did you never watch? Right. Another reason why this is a hell site. People posting insanely like, what? WTF? What are you talking about? That was literally like for those of you who have not watched The Sopranos, Tony Soprano, who's like the lead boss of a mafia family, happens to be in therapy. He's trying to live this, upper middle class looking life, as a legit businessman, and he's really a mafia dude, but his son, who's AJ, has ADHD. Yes, there was a gay mobster in his crime family. So, yeah, maybe watch the thing that you're kind of trying to make fun of first. Yeah, just putting that out there. So that's another thing that makes this a hell site, right? You see this sort of shit. But, Fancy Brenda here is like, well, that's why I'm never leaving this fucking hell site, because of stupid shit like that. Okay. Fair enough, Brenda. Let's see what else we got. 5 years on this hell site. So this is one of those like built-in things when you reach an anniversary, a year anniversary of some sort, you can post it. And this person added their own flavor, if you will. The absolute happiest of happy birthdays to one of my favorite people and friends on this hell site, Cyborg6687. I hope you have the best day B. Okay. So is this him? No, this is some dude writing a fake. Whoa, hey, look at this guy. Happy birthday. Wow. That's a pretty cool GIF. That's another reason why you should stay on this. Oh, by the way, I do pronounce it GIF.
I pronounce it GIF. Sue me.
I know some people call it a GIF, but I've always called it a GIF. But anyways, so this is just somebody, again, joking about this being a hell site. Let's flip and let's see what we find here. When people are like, Twitter is a hell site, Twitter sucks, etc., I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. You're following the wrong people then, because I be smiling and laughing on here. That's a good point. So what you get out of Twitter is mostly who you follow, right? So I will admit I follow some accounts that are questionable in character, maybe. I also follow a lot of news organizations, independent all the way up to the major ones. So yeah, I get it. Maybe that makes it a hell site for me. If I just followed people, like there's a fellow, JR Green. Howdy, JR, if you're watching. I don't think you are, but if you are, hi, how's it going? And he retweets like animal pictures, like all day. I'll be doom scrolling again and just see, oh, a finnick, oh, a squirrel, oh, a mongoose or whatever. And they're all coming from him, and it makes my day. So if I follow more people like him, then Twitter would just become like, wow, look at all this wildlife. This is awesome. So yeah. But yeah, I think that's a good point, Jellykeeper. Great name, Jellykeeper. That when people are like, Twitter's a hell site, well, you're just following the wrong people. That's a good point. I sat on a bumblebee and now I have the most sumptuous ass in the entire hell site. All men envy me and all women want to be me. Be me? Okay. That's not very good. Yes, Twitter is a hell site, but I did meet the coolest, sexiest people ever here. Yes? Maybe. Probably not. So let's break that down a little bit more, or actually break this down a little bit more by saying, okay, great. We've found multiple reasons why Twitter could be a hell site. So Twitter could be a hell site because of the people you follow. So you're getting just crappy content or negative content. Twitter could be a hell site because you get, dunked on for no reason or name called for no reason, or just lambasted for no reason, just because you have an opinion, which I think is really funny. If you have an opinion, you deserve getting dunked on. By the way, I am not going to walk away from this stream without saying I am guilty of this. You're probably guilty of this. Anybody who's watching this has probably dunked on somebody at one time or another. And I'm not going to judge you. But that's one of the contributing things that makes this a Hellsite is all the dunking. Instead of finding common ground with a lot of people, we're dunking on each other. Why? So like, Mr. Van Gogh earlier, his comment was so just profound. This is the type of silly, thoughtless dunking that makes this a Hellsite. I hope it gave you your dopamine shot, right? So I think that's another, trait of Twitter that makes this such a Hellsite is that, yes, we dunk on each other, but we can do it anonymously without fear of getting punched in the face. And that's kind of a rush. Yeah, that's the whole comment about the dopamine shot, right? It's kind of a rush. It kind of gives you a high that, hey, I was able to call this person an asshole, and there was nothing they could do about it. It was freaking great. They could have punched me in the face in real life, or shot me in the head, or something awful, but they didn't because I am just an anonymous person on the internet. That's kind of screwed up if you ask me. I'd just kind of out there, right? Again, thank you, Van Gogh, for that. But other reasons why this is Twitter is a Hellsite. Again, I talked about, the targeting of free speech, right? So during the pandemic, if you even mentioned anything outside of the approved narrative about the coronavirus, you were suspended. And by the way, there's evidence to show that the White House was actually, a big part of that they were pushing down the mandates that, you cannot say these sort of things about, the vaccine or treatments or whatever, because that's misinformation, right? So there's evidence that that the White House was pushing and pressuring big tech companies, specifically social media companies like the Facebooks and Twitters of the world, to suppress that. So yes, Twitter is largely responsible for it being a Hellsite. Twitter themselves makes Twitter a Hellsite just by their stance on free speech. I can't put it more plainly than that. So these are all the reasons why Twitter is a Hellsite. But what about the good things? Are there good things? Well, I mentioned a few. Here, let me go back to Twitter here. So I was mentioning Phoenix. So Phoenix are they're like fox little creatures, right? So one of the people I follow, J.R. Green, he's married to why am I just I went blank. Chad Felix. He's married to Chad Felix, who's a writer and a pretty good writer. Anyway, so Chad Felix Green, or Chad, good Lord. J.R. Green, again, words are hard, people. Again, post stuff like this. Finnick every hour. It's an automated account it's a bot account, basically, that all it does is post adorable, cute little animals called Finnicks that are like little foxes. Look at that. Oh my God. Oh my God. I think I'm going to explode. That is so freaking cute. Oh goodness. Look at those ears. It's like the ears from a German Shepherd put onto like a little kitty cat. So this is a good reason why that Twitter is sometimes not a Hellsite. I love this stuff. And the little plaything. It's so cute. Okay, how cute. Oh, that one doesn't look so cute. That one looks like he's about to eat something, like maybe the throat of a bird. But these are all just generally cute. There's other accounts out there that are very similar. You can find Fox every. Oops. I thought there was a fox every hour. Every hour. Maybe this is it. No, this isn't it. So I can go back and look at, so here's J.R. Green that I was talking about. So look at his retweets. So he's got some political retweets, but look, Corgi every hour. Wholesome Memes. Oh, hey, guys, Wholesome Memes is back. Remember we saw that tweet earlier where they were suspended? They are back, and here's why. Because, oh my God, that is so freaking cute. This is not Hellsite material, people. This is good stuff. Here's another one. Happy Dog. Oh, 9 years of service the day I retired. That is so sweet. Told myself I wasn't going to cry. Yeah. Okay, and then of course he posts a meme. 8 million Americans slipped into poverty amid coronavirus pandemic, new study says. Slipped. And then there's a meme of a guy pushing a guy off a cliff. The guy on the coming off the cliff is a U.S. citizen, and that gets the government push. Well, this is reality, and this is actually not a reason for Hellsite. This is actually a good thing. Memes can be funny, and this is funny. If you are on the left and don't think this is funny, then there's something wrong with you. You can, I can look at left memes and think they're fun. Oh no, I can't because the left can't meme. Yeah, I forget about that sometimes, that the left just can't meme. Sorry about that, left, but you can't. So yeah, J.R. Green does a lot of that sort of thing. I want to go look at Wholesome Memes real quick. So this was an account that got suspended at one point. And yeah, let's see what he has to say here, what some of these memes are. Oh, a video. Here, let's see if this is wholesome or if this makes this a hell site. That's pretty wholesome. That there is pretty wholesome, folks. I live for this stuff. This is great. Oh, here we go. Here's an actual meme. Oh, y'all are so cute. Everyone gathered together for a picture with the birthday boy. Me and the boys. Yep. Yep, that would be me. Except I probably have a bigger mouth. So, Wholesome Memes. This is what happiness looks like. Oh my God, I'm going to die. Because Krispy Kremes are the worst donuts ever. Don't eat Krispy Kremes, they're terrible. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be cute. That was freaking wholesome. That's about as wholesome as you can get. So here's great reasons why Twitter is not necessarily a hell site. Let's see about this one. That's cute. Some days it's easier, other days it's harder. Be it easy or hard, the only way to get there is to start. See, why did this account get suspended? I really want to know. I would love for somebody to tell me, maybe down in the comments, after you have, of course, subscribed to the channel. But yeah, down in the comments, let me know if you know why Wholesome Memes would have gotten suspended. I mean, their content is, well, it's wholesome. What can I say? Very good. Very good. All right. So what are some other reasons why Twitter may not necessarily be a hell site? Well, let's do a search for, I don't know, charity. Why not? This is at a charity event for St. Jude's Children's Hospital. Someone donated $50,000 if the Trumps joined me on stage. Now, unlike the rest of you fascists, when I heard Trump spew his fourth right Nazi shit, I turned on him like a true American patriot. When will you? Okay, so this is stupid. All right. Good morning, the charity guys. So sometimes when you do searches, it picks up the name. And if they have charity in the name, well, you're kind of screwed. High charity. Oh, what's this? Mm-hmm. 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 An 80% rise in energy bills. That's painful for us all. Painful for us all, but it's impossible for the millions of people already in poverty. If we don't see swift, decisive leadership on the cost of living crisis, the mental health system will collapse. So this is an important tweet. It's from a group called Mind Charity, and they are advocating here not for necessarily the governmental intervention or anything like that. What they're advocating for here is, we need to really be thinking about people's minds and people's mental health, and that this tweet is a good indicator of why Twitter is not necessarily a hell site all the time. So let's see what other ones we got here. So filled in for coach, had an emergency. So they did a charity kickoff banquet. See, this is an opportunity for you to share your charities with people. Cradle, the donation of 7,000 SPF 30 lip balms will support 7,000 women who will receive methotrexate during ectopic pregnancy care in the NHS. By making Cradle methotrexate, well, that's a really hard thing to say, packs available, we can inform of possible MTX side effects and signpost to our weekly support group. So this is a good use of Twitter, and why this doesn't contribute to it being a health site at all. In fact, it's helpful. So more of this, please. I want to see more Phoenix. I want to see more silly memes, and I want to see more talk about charity and giving away and giving of your time to help your fellow man. Let's see what else we got. ITV News Tynees. When he arrives, he'll deliver a letter signed by the UK's most prominent mental health charities asking for more to be done around suicide prevention. Thank you. With the the horrendous lockdowns, the unnecessary horrendous lockdowns of the last 2 years, suicides have gone way up, especially amongst young girls. And I'm 1,000% behind any charity that is for suicide prevention. So another good use of social media that doesn't contribute to the health-sightedness of the platform. Marilyn Monroe at a charity event. Yeah. Although this isn't bad. I'm kind of digging on Marilyn here. She's kind of a hottie. Yeah. One of the other things that does actually lead to the health-sightedness, I'm going to start using that word as though it's a real thing. The health-sightedness of Twitter is the porn. There's a lot of porn on Twitter, and it's very, very easy to find. Just type your favorite porn word, and you're going to find it. I'm not going to do it here on this live stream, but it exists, and it is no bueno. In fact, Twitter has had a horrific record with pedophilia specifically, allowing some of that content to stay up for extended periods of time without doing anything at all about it. To me, I think that's a crime, and they should be held accountable for that. But that's neither here nor there. So I'm going to move on today by ending the show on a high note and kind of talking to you about why I am still on Twitter. Number one, it's a great source of entertainment. I'm not much of a TV guy. I've got my shows, right? I'm not my wife. She has documentaries and she has shows and she has all this stuff. She loves her TV, and hence the reason why I needed the studio so I could have a door to separate me and the TV. And that's neither here nor there. So a lot of my form of entertainment comes from Twitter. I'm constantly scrolling on Twitter. Before I go to bed, I'm like seeing what's going on Twitter. I'm hitting up TWITCHY.com, which again, if you haven't checked out TWITCHY.com, great source for Twitter related news. They're kind of like a Twitter aggregator, if you will. Kind of like what I'm doing, except I'm doing it live and I'm reacting to it live. These are different articles. And anyways, twitchy.com, go check it out. They're fantastic. But I use Twitter first and foremost as kind of a form of entertainment. The second thing I use it for is to be informed. Now, you would think, wow, Scott, you're pretty dumb for trying to be informed on Twitter. Hear me out. Every news organization, whether fringe or mainstream, has a Twitter account, a Twitter feed. In fact, they have people that are dedicated to making sure that stories get pushed out on Twitter. So when a big event happens, the first place I go is Twitter. It's just where I go, because not only are you getting media perspective, like mainstream media, you're getting independent media, you're getting some of that fringe media. And I'm thinking, like, what's Alex Jones's stupid conspiracy stuff, but even them. And then you also get, citizen journalism, where people are on the ground when the event is unfolding and live tweeting about it or taking videos and pictures of what's going on. It's unprecedented in media that we have this instant access to, things that are happening around the world. And so I use Twitter as my entry point into these big stories, and to make myself informed about these stories, because now I don't have to go to Google and search for this, and this. It's in my feed, and it's from different resources, different sources. So if I see CNN post something about something, I don't know, a shooting in a mall somewhere, well, you know what? I'm going to see a similar story from Fox, or I'm going to see a similar story from Breitbart or something along those. And so I have multiple, sources at my fingertips to go and research on my own. So Twitter is like a news aggregator for me. It gives me the ability, as kind of a starting point, to really kind of go down that rabbit hole and just get informed. Whereas for those people that just watch news, they're not getting the whole thing. You think that if you watch MSNBC and you see a news story that you're getting all the information? Do you really? Because let me tell you, you're not. CNN, same. Fox, same. Now, they may give you the tidbits, but they're going to always have their narrative that's going to really cloud what that story is. So Twitter gives me the ability in one space to hop in, find the story, and branch out from there and do my own research. There it is. That's all I got to say about that. That's just to stay informed. The third reason why I really, why I'm still on Twitter, and why I will probably continue to be on Twitter, is because I find amazingly smart people on Twitter all the time. And I've always strived to, be friends with and to meet and to interact with people who are smarter than me, which isn't hard to do, but, because most people are smarter than me. But so here's a good example. So like Jordan Peterson, I had no idea who Jordan Peterson was. Sorry, Dr. Jordan Peterson. And I found him through Twitter. He's no longer on Twitter because of Elliot Page, but that's a story for a different day. But because of Twitter, I was started following him, and I was like watching his videos, and now I'm watching his videos on YouTube, and I'm learning so much about mental health, so much about society and how our biology and how our upbringing and how our mental health plays into our society and the things, especially in Western society, the things that we struggle with or we deal with on a day-to-day basis. And I feel smarter just getting a glimpse of some of his content. That wouldn't have happened without Twitter or some other social media platform. Ben Shapiro, who we were making fun of earlier, it's another example of that. I started following Ben Shapiro very early on when I first found out about him, and I thought he was absolutely fantastic. And I loved watching him debate, and it helped me to understand what it means, or how to best to debate. And make sure you come to the debate with your facts. Make sure you come to the debate with with your ears. Listen to the other person. Have true discourse. It's a lost art form, and Ben Shapiro is a master artist in this regard. So this is why I still use Twitter. I'm constantly seeking out people who are smarter than me, that are going to make me a better person. That's going to make me a more informed person. And really, that's the three reasons. And is it a hell site? Is Twitter a hell site? Yes. Yes, Twitter is a hell site. It is absolutely. There's so much just degeneracy and poison and vitriol, and just again, as Van Gogh, but not the painter, said, there's thoughtless dunking. People just getting their dopamine shots by dunking on other people. Yeah, Twitter's a hell site, but it's also an amazing resource, an amazing way to connect, an amazing way to learn, an amazing way to read between the lines, so that you're not just a Smurf out there following Papa Smurf everywhere, right? So you're not just one of a horde of people. You become a free thinker when you start going down these rabbit holes. And that's one of the reasons why I'm conservative, because I started going down rabbit holes, about 15 years ago, and here I am. I'm a conservative. So it's made me a smarter person, I think, which again is not saying much. A lot of smart people out there that basically have got my number. So, but it's a hell site, and it's also a great site. I think we can make it better if we learn to maybe have a little bit more empathy to our fellow tweeters, if you will. Not immediately think about, dunking on somebody so we get that dopamine rush, right? But to, actually try to get to know each other. Maybe because we don't know what's going on the other side of that keyboard. The person that's dunking on you might be hurting. They might be suffering with something in their lives that is weighing on them and crushing them. We don't know. And so what do? We dunk back. Maybe we should stop. Maybe that's where conservatives should draw the line. I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for that, because, you got the Trumpists who are like, oh, no, say no to lefties and blah, 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 and whatever. So we have to draw a line somewhere. Somebody has to do it. Who's the first? Who's the first going to say, you know what? I'm going to quit being an asshole on Twitter. Again, I'm just as guilty as the next person of being an asshole on Twitter, but where can we start drawing the line so we can learn to have more empathy for our fellow man via social media, since it has become such an outlet for a lot of people, millions of people. I think it's important that we do that, and I think we should start sooner than later. So is Twitter a hell site? Yes and no. And that's really all I have to say about that. Alrighty, so that's the end of my show. Thank you for hanging out with me. I'm going to chop that up, put it on the podcast. And yeah, so again, thank you so much for watching, if you did, or if you did not, or whatever. But don't forget that you can subscribe to the channel. My YouTube channel. I'm also streaming on Twitter. There's no way to subscribe there. I guess you could follow me. My handle is beyond_280. But for YouTube, you can subscribe, hit that bell whenever I post new content. Again, I'm going to be posting shorts. I'm going to be posting, shorter content, just quick little videos. Look at some of my other videos down below. You'll see that I've done some videos in the past, but I'm going to be really getting back into this full swing. And if you really like the content, really like the content, you can always support me by buying me a coffee. Buymeacoffee.com/beyond280. I will appreciate it highly. This isn't simple to do, and it's not cheap to do. Well, it can be cheap, but I didn't make it cheap. I did not follow somebody's advice, and I spent a lot of money. And yeah, this is the result. I'm still, like I said, I'm still working on it. But I appreciate those of you who stuck around and watched this, and have a great weekend. And I will be back on Friday. You can guarantee it. Peace out.